How about it, you guys? Hope y'all are doing fantastic today. So we got a cool project. We got our hands on an old Ingersoll Rand air compressor, and we're gonna fix it up because I ain't gonna lie to you, it's pretty rough. The sun gun looks like it's been through Iraq and Afghanistan on a couple different deployments, and buddy, it has seen better days. But that's all right because that's what I do. I buy junk and fix it up because I can't afford new stuff. Anyway, so aside from that, guys, should be a pretty nice project, and I think we're gonna have a really good time with it. Should be a pretty quick one for the most part. At least for the video, it should look pretty quick, but for me, it's gonna be a couple days worth of work, you know, maybe a few days, so forth. So y'all check out this sandblast unit that I just fixed up. Turned out really nice. I got this at an auction a little while back. Did not give much for it, but it needed a lot of work. So I sent it off and had a company rebuild the valves and regulators on it. So they got it functioning. Then I got it and I sandblasted it and then put a nice paint job on it. And something else I also did, it's kind of cool. It didn't originally have these forklift points right here. So that way, you know, you can get your forklift and pick it up. If you got all your sand and media in it, this thing's super heavy and it's not easy to move. Got them added on there and got me some heavy duty gussets and welded them in, and thought it'd be cool to put me a little grip tape on there because these actually make a very nice little shelf you can step up on, and then you could be, you know, pouring your media in there. Pretty cool little setup for the most part. Original wheels, I cleaned them up, repainted the rims, and got some new line sets for it, so I think it's going to be a good little set. So there she is. That's an old Ingersoll Rand air compressor. And buddy, it ain't pretty. It has seen better days. The hours meter, the tachometer on it or whatever, I think it's showing like 700 hours on it. Now, who knows if that's true? I don't know, but it's making great oil pressure. It runs like a top. I had my buddy Gene go through it. He serviced it all up, the whole 9 yards, and it's a very trustworthy unit. I've had a couple projects I've sandblasted with it before, and it did fantastic. So I've got faith in it, guys. I just want to clean it up because it's not pretty, it's pretty rough, and it's, like I say, it's a little scary looking, to be honest with you. I mean, the faceplate of it, I can salvage this, I can work with that. It's a little rough, but it's at least got some potential. And as far as the body itself goes, kind of what I want to do is make a shelf for it, I'll say shelf, make a roof for it, and then have some doors for it that'll hinge open on some little hydraulic struts. And these side panels, this one, the other one, the camera doesn't exactly do its entire justice, but it is beat up. It's wavy, it's got dings and dents on it. So my idea is to basically get some panels and do overlays on it and tack weld them all in, so that way when I go to prime and paint it, it'll all look nice and unanimous and the paint will flow good. So that's kind of what we're going to do. We're just kind of do some, scab some body panels to it almost and leave the original steel. As far as the back end's concerned, I haven't really made my mind up entirely what I want to do with it yet. But, you know, I'll probably fab something up and maybe make it look a little presentable. We got an old bumper back here. Thing's about to fall off. So we'll we'll gussy that up. So yeah, for the most part, guys, that's kind of the game plan. Just make it look presentable. It functions fine, but it just looks horrible. That's the game plan. Okay, guys, let's see what we're doing here. So we got a roof panel laid out right here. And now it's time to get this thing bent up. We can use it on the roof. Well, the deal is, I don't have a metal brake big enough to accommodate this, so we're gonna have to do method B, which is called get the cutoff wheel and score them lines. And then from there, we ain't gonna cut all the way through them, but we're at least gonna be able to manipulate it and bend them corners the way I like. Bend them corners up to be able to follow the profile that I wanna do. Kinda like that, then have a little kick, then a kick down, and it should have a little lip right here, and that way, that should catch that profile just fine. That's the plan. That's what we're gonna do. And that sheet turned out to be, I needed exactly 44 inches. So we're gonna have to cut this right here and get away from this strip. And then I'll use that for another project one day. And then from there, we got that. And then that side, 2 passes, and we'll score 4 lines. And then we should be able to manipulate this the way we want it. That's the plan. See what we can do, guys. All right, let's check out what we got going, man. That sun is beaming. Let's see, where's the camera? Switcheroo. All right, check out what we got going on. The roof mocked up, if you will. Like you say, we went and made our relief cuts, and you can see them style lines. So we got that running there, got an 1.25 inch kick, and then it rolls down 2.5 inches. Got that on both sides. This side turned out pretty daggone nice. I only cut through really like 2 little spots right there and right there. My cutting wheel got a little too deep, but no big deal. We'll go get when we get our welder out and stuff, we'll go tack up these little slits and then hit them with the grinder or the flap disc, you know, and clean them up. And I went around with the flap disc and cleaned all the edges up so everything's nice and smooth and uniform. So, man, I love working with good clean metal and not having burrs and stuff all in it, you know. So anyway, we got that done. Just free thinking ideas. I want to say the next plan of action would probably be, let's go ahead and at least secure the roof down. Not dead set secure it down, but at least have it mocked up to where it's in its resting position. And then from there, I would say probably need to go ahead and start working on mocking up the door on this side and the other side. And then, like I say, I got two big old giant like piano hinges, as they say. I think that's what they're called. But that's what I want to use to run down the whole length of it for the most part. I'd say that would be the next plan of action. All right, guys, let's see where we're at on this project. Not gonna lie, it's almost starting to look kind of like the Killdozer to an extent, but anyway, after we get all our sheet metal on and get this thing primed and painted, I think it's going to look pretty doggone good. I'm working pretty heavily on this side, as you can tell. We got the roof on there, and it's looking pretty good. Got the hinges all welded on and whatnot. Got the door, it's laying very nicely against this little framework that I put in. Got some 1-inch angle iron. I think it adds a little bit of style, if you will, to it. And also I left a little bit of a room, like I don't know, about 1/4 of an inch, give or take, around the perimeter of it. So that way I can put some edging material all the way around the perimeter of the door itself. And what this angle iron is going to do is allow me to have a point to run the new sheet metal for like this side panel. You know, I can run it from there and run it to the bottom, and then have a good nice spot to tack weld it all in. So I have a nice new panel along that body line, and then of course we'll put a panel in right there, and then that should have this side pretty much done. Of course, we'll repeat it on the next side, and then that we'll have to figure out what we want to do on the back side. Right off the bat, just kind of free thinking ideas. I'm kind of thinking maybe capping it essentially, but then having a cutout for airflow purposes. All right, guys, so we finally got this thing kind of starting to shape up, you know what I'm saying? So let's take a look at it, see where we're at. Got this part of the body all skinned out and whatnot, and it's starting to really take shape. Pretty much just got everything tacked up and whatnot. Anyway, we're gonna keep on rocking and rolling. All right, so we're back out here. Let's check this rig out, see what we're doing. Okay, we've been making some pretty steady progress on this puppy. You can tell we've pretty much got this side of it finished up for the most part. I've got the door intact, got the sheet metal all there. I've got the handle in place and got it all shimmed and calibrated just right. Also got the door struts on it. That door will hinge out, and it seems to be holding and nice and rigid and sturdy, and it seems pretty straightforward. Another thing is, it's hard to tell on this camera, but this is 5-inch channel on the tongue section, and dude, it's so bent up, both frame rails. It's like wavy. I'm almost debating on whether I want to chop that loose and weld some new 5-inch channel and make a new hitch section. I've actually got a 10-foot section on my steel rack in the other side of my building. I'm gonna think about it. It's not super necessary, but man, it kind of bothers me. And also, I've got another hitch I'm gonna put on because I don't know, man. I like my stuff to look professional as possible. That's just an idea. I'll show you what we got going on right here. Will my camera zoom out? Oh, buddy, it sure will. All right. Handle, and then that puppy hinges right on up. That turned out pretty good. Struts in place and whatnot, and then I put a 1-inch angle in here to act as a little strengthening device for the sheet metal, you know, stay rigid and whatnot. Got that. So this side is pretty much done up for the most part. You know, we need to attack this side now. This side is going to be rinse and repeat, and unfortunately I have a little bit of a wave in this sheet. As you can tell, it's not wanting to sit super flush. I know why. Right here, when I welded or tacked on this hinge section, it had like a little kick to it. I'm going to slice those tacks loose and straighten it out. I'm gonna get it fixed up. And then the back portion. I went ahead and got the back portion all welded on, and I just need to cut a ventilation port for it, and we'll make it look pretty decent and whatnot. We'll get around to that. But the big thing with this is, I of course did design this to where the whole top section all unbolts, and then I've got these little D-rings that I welded on each corner, so you can hook some ratchet straps or little chains or something up to a fork set on like a tractor or forklift. The whole top and then the side assembly will come up with it. That way you can actually access the engine compartment, and for some reason if you get in a situation where you got to do some major work, totally is there, because this is great and all, being able to get in here like this, but you're actually, as you can tell, you're really limited to what you can do, you know, and you're upside down in there, you know, and your light isn't as good. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game plan, and I think we got the right idea, guys. Let's hop back to it and let's get this thing finished up, because I don't know, but I am ready to go start another project because I'm getting kind of bored with this one. So anyway, no, seriously, we got a lot of the project coming up, and but you know, that's fun. It's a little adventurous, right? So, all right, let's make this happen. Let's get back to it. What you know about it, guys? All right, so that was a lot more work than what I anticipated on, and I hope on your side it didn't look too bad, but I bit off a little more than what I could chew. That happens a lot. So we got it here in the paint shop, as you can tell. Not the best weather, but we're just kind of working with what we got. And at the end of the day, this is a piece of equipment. It ain't a Ferrari or store, if you know what I mean. We went ahead and got everything kind of done up on it, went and prepped it, and primed it all up, and I did a fair amount of little body work on this original nose piece. Just kind of brought it back to life because it was pretty crushed. It looks pretty presentable in my opinion. Got the new tongue built, as you can tell. But yeah, guys, we're gonna hop to it and put some paint on it, and then after that we'll decal it up, and then I got to get some new rims, and when I pull those old wheels off, I probably need to service the hubs and bearings and all that good stuff. A little more to do, but for the most part, guys, this is gonna be it's gonna be pretty straightforward. Looking forward to it, as long as something doesn't go south, which normally does. Let's go make this happen. Let's start with the front and work our way back. We went ahead and built a new tongue section for it. We got some 5-inch channel and built the new tongue section, as you can tell. Got a new hitch with a adapter on it, so that way we can select what style hitch we want to run. Kind of just depends on your desired application. Turned out really nice. Got a new jack from Northern Tools. I was not very happy with that other jack. If you remember, they had like a jack that you'd have on like it was like a landing gear for a gooseneck. Dude, it was just too much going on, and it's pretty clean little setup. We got our Cox air hose reel. That's got to be at least a $400 reel, if not more, in my opinion. That's heavy duty. I got to plumb it up still. I got to get a new filter and then plumb it up down there. No big deal, and I will do that off camera. As far as the front face is concerned, that is the only original sheet metal that we're running, and that thing was pretty crushed in. I did quite a bit of body work to it, especially this side. It was just crushed in like a Coke can, and kind of just brought it back to life. I'm very happy with it, and I'll show you this gauge section. It's pretty slick. We got pretty much all new gauges except for the original hours meter, and this has 779 hours to it, and that meter still does work. At least it last did when I used it. Looks pretty slick. Now, I want to talk about the exhaust, because the exhaust is pretty doggone cool. That's an exhaust tip that I had on my F-250. I used to have a 4-inch, and well, that's a 4-inch inlet to a 5-inch outlet. And I was like, dude, I got to put that on. I was turning the wheels in my head, collaborating ideas about the exhaust system. I was like, dude, I got to put it on there. It looks so tough, and you just kind of makes this unit pop, if you will. I never thought I'd be pimping out industrial air compressors, but here I am. Going back to the tongue section, I want to talk about something cool. And shout out to my buddy Tanner, because he gave me this idea not long ago. We were talking, we were just talking about trailers, trucks, equipment, whatever. We're talking about how often trailer light wires always get jostled around and well messed up, and you're always having to repair them. He gave me the brilliant idea of, instead of just running the wires loosely down the trailer frame, why not run conduit? I was like, that's awesome. This was my first application that I was able to do this. So we ran 1/2-inch conduit all the way down, underside, and into the back end to where the LEDs are. I'm gonna start doing this on all my builds and restorations, because once again, I get sick of repairing the trailer light wires, and it's just too much going on. That was cool, awesome idea. We got some new fenders from Northern Tools. Those are aluminum, and I got to give a little shout out to my buddy Prim, because he told me to do some chrome ones, and hey man, he was right, because this thing pops. And we got some new galvanized wheels, look pretty slick. And as you can tell, we got this puppy all decaled up, and I'm pretty happy with it. I did put that little John Deere sticker on there separately. That didn't originally come with it, but John Deere 4039 pushing the compressor in, so why not? A little tribute to it. Let's talk about the door. Very pleased with the door. Opens right up pretty flawlessly. Got new struts on it, and of course the new latches, and all that came from Amazon. Pretty easy to source out if you're interested in getting into that kind of hardware. Now I do want to talk about, of course I already had this running, ran it yesterday for a while, and you would probably expect this thing to rattle around and make a bunch of racket and stuff. Well, it is loud considering the engine's right there, but this thing has zero sheet metal rattle. And I was so pleased, because honestly, I kind of thought this thing was going to be rattling around and making a bunch of racket, but it's pretty slick, and it done a great job. A little shot of the interior, engine compartment. Like I say, my buddy Gene went through there, got it all serviced up, cleaned up. Everything's working just as it should. That's how I ran the exhaust up through there. And I don't have one now, but I will get like a little water guard, one of those little flapper vents. I'm going to put that inside, just in case this thing gets parked outside, which it shouldn't. But in the case that it does, for the time being, I will put a 5-gallon bucket over it. Anyway, there's that. And let's look at the little tail section. Tail section turned out pretty slick. Did kind of like a little grid section back there with some expanded metal, just for ventilation purposes, our LEDs. And I got some edging material, rubber, to run the perimeter of that. Nice setup. And I don't know if I've already talked about this, but I put the 4 points right here, as you can tell. So you can run cables or ratchet straps, whatever. You can run it up to a set of forks, and after you undo all the little bolts, you can lift the roof and the doors up, and that way you can work on the interior portion of this rig. That was the game plan there. But that's pretty much the quick rundown for this rig. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and hopefully it makes sense to you. I hope to see you on some more projects and whatnot, guys, because this rig is now going to run that rig, which will in return help us to fix more rigs up. I think it's a cool setup, guys, and once again, really appreciate you watching and whatnot, and I hope to do better with the videos next go around. I'm just going to try to get my camera stuff going better and just the whole 9 yards. But I appreciate you guys, and hope the good Lord blesses you, and I'll see y'all on the next go around. See ya.